mention the ADF. The ADF, technically, those are our kids who are actually really are recruits of La Republique, pretending to be fighting against La Republique, and we knew what happened. They were being um, armed by La Republique, and when the La Republique was done using them, and afraid that these some of these boys could turn out and provide information, witnesses to their crimes against humanity, they bundled them up in, um, let me say, a massacre spree, well orchestrated, with the so-called person in charge, Mr. Ayaba, and they think they are covering evidence. It is a sad thing that any other Ambazonia who is working for La Republique as a spy to carry espionage activity in Ambazonia, is they should just look at what happened to the ADFs who were massacred. That is their end as well. La Republique is good at using people and then discard them. And if you have much intelligence, that they fear that by you having that intelligence, you are likely going to incriminate them or be a witness to their criminal activity, they will eliminate you. Mind you, they do not care and they do not value the lives of Amazonians, even their own citizens. It's a clique that runs that country. It is a clique. And that clique continues to run the country, and the people find themselves even helpless. And they cannot even fight. And when we want to step out and say, enough of this, 60 years plus, it's enough we can take, we need to go back to our country, they come after us. Um, and it's not because La Republique is only fighting for itself. They're really fighting for France so that France can retain and continue to exploit the resources of our nation. So I just want to advise any one of those so fake um, recruits that they think have been dismissed. They have not been. Let them just think about what happened to Mr. Nambere. What is Mr. Nambere doing? I know Mr. Nambere is still a spy, but hear about some of the complaints he gave. Hear about so if we're even talking about somebody that was tested and used, and he now speaks a language against La Republique. Listen to Mr. Nambere. You will hear those kinds of words and those kinds of things from him. And even some of the boys that have gone to the DDR camps. Why are those boys who went to DDR? Why are they not out? La Republique they can promise you a golden egg on a silver platter, but they will give you poop wrapped up in cocoyam leaves, and you will be thinking you went home with something. No, they are going to be killed and eliminated after they have been used. So I advise you, our children, the the earth, the ground, the water, and the air of La Republique will fight against you. It's a God ordained struggle. The very elements of nature within that, I don't care how many sacrifices La Republique and the Yaoundé junta thinks they can go and meet the funds to even do sacrifices so that they can continue. It will not. We have a just cause, and heaven testifies to that just cause. And the truth is, we are going to win. And nobody ever wins a right and a truthful ideology. It may take time, but truth triumphs. So I want to advise, I'm a mother. I want to advise our sons and daughters that are being used. Mind you, not all of them will come home tattered. Some of them will come home as business people who want to come back and invest. And so don't have this concept of thinking that everybody who is going to come as a spy for La Republique is going to be a tattered person. They may be ordinary. It can cut across every walk of life. They may not even speak evil about La Republique. So don't think it's a one size fit all that these spies are going to be. Know yourself, know the people that are with you, and you protect each other, protect your civilians. What I always say is the first um, defense guard for our ARFs are the civilian population. Protect them, they protect you. If you hear something, say something. Don't give up. Don't hesitate. It's better to say something and we check it out, and rather than not say anything and then more lives perish. But we
Yeah.
can remember, because of ADF, we've had several massacre happen in the Mogamo LGA. And these are the people that carried out most of this under the instruction of ADF Joe Ayaba and La Republique. So they're beginning to try to want to cover up some of their tracks and their weaknesses. So even if they use ADF and they are discarding them, let me advise you. La Republique has so many people in their government with fake documentations, fake
Yeah,
that are not
yeah.
even.
Dr. Lobati, talking about La Republic du Cameroon and fake documents, for this story, we are looking at Simon, General Ezo Mvundo Simeon. Now, when we looked at this story, where we looked at some of his achievements, or should we say, when we looked at his achievements so far, now it says in his college, he was the best in tactical combat. He has rich experiences. He speaks different languages. Don't you think that the ADF might want to probably re-strategize if someone like this is already in the picture, or do you think that there is nothing to bother about? Noting the fact that the ARFs, they have been successful all this time. Noting this caliber of persons and what we have on the ground. What would be your suggestion?
Uh, Technically, we don't discuss
Okay.
defense, self-defense
Yeah,
strategies
but
in
the people, the people
on
may want to know.
what.
Yeah, the people may want to know. I love your perspective already, because it's obvious that you're also representing the interim government somehow here. But if the people want to know that, oh, okay, so Undaunted, they reeled out the technicalities of this same person, probably some form of encouragement can also help them here to probably calm their nerves.
Let me use. I like to use other stories of things that have passed and that might help us.
Okay.
America was in Vietnam, the nation with one of the highest top intelligence, CIA, FBI. They never defeated the Viet Congs because they were fighting a guerrilla war. American government and many of the people, they have told La Republique, this is not a war to win. You will not win it, neither will the ARFs win it. It's a guerrilla war. The best thing to do and to stop this is to go to the negotiation table. Take the advice of people who have walked down this path before and it did not work. Even with all the intelligence, look at what even happened. You can think about America did some things. America, I'm an American. Okay, full disclosure, I'm an American, Amazonian born American. We were in um, Afghanistan for several years. Whatever we did, when we were done, we left, but we did not live in a way that we looked honorable. So America has experience with war and even um, going into areas where they have guerrilla warfare, and they are telling La Republique. La Republique has never fought a war. This is their first war. It's against their so-called citizens. So guess what? They will not win it. So let them just lay down, eat their humble pie, and come to the negotiation table led by the Swiss government. And let's move on and let's talk about things. Everything is on the table, nothing is off the table. We will talk everything and anything, and there are no preconditions. Let them come. The only one thing they fear is because they are walking on falsehood. That's why they are afraid. And they think that they can conquer us militarily and then claim us to be a vassal. We were never a vassal. We got independence on October 1st, 1961, and that stands. If we will never be a vassal to anyone, even though we are being oppressed now, we shall overcome.
All right. It all boils down to La Republic du Cameroon eating humble pie, like you said, indeed. And moving on with that, well, it's sad, I must say, that they are using children this time around for their spy and espionage, actually. It's sad that it's children they decide to use. But like I said, Dr. Winnie Lobati, all La Republic can do right now for both parties to end this whole war and lives to stop being lost in this war is for them to eat humble pie and come to the negotiation table to end this whole war. Well, there's still so much in store, and we would still like to have you here with us to analyze and go through the rest of the news for tonight. But before anything else, let's go for a break.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amba TV, the voice of Ambazonia.
Over the weekend, on Saturday precisely, we brought you Southern Cameroonians Ambazonians who marched across southern Nicosia on Friday to protest the genocidal onslaught in the home front. Dozens of IG loyalists and demonstrators gathered outside the office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees in Ngomi. They were holding placards with photos of bodies with the description suggesting they belong to civilians killed by the military during the ongoing war in Amazonia. The group submitted a petition to the UN community in Cyprus as an appeal to the international community and humanitarian organizations to understand their plight and help put an end to the deadly conflict. Now, let's see this video.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of...
Yeah. Ambazonia, ghost people, ghosts. You just see that there, you just see that there, you know how they come out. Now, ghost people. You know, manifest no command. It's very delicate. We will never live in your grave. Oh, until we reach the Republic of Cameroon has refused to go for negotiations. There is so much injustice, and we are so disappointed with the response of the international community. Because if we were terrorists, then somebody better say so. If we have a just cause, then let us sit and negotiate what is the wrong that has been done to us, and how are we supposed to right this wrong. We don't love to be refugees. We would rather be home and develop our own country, but not in a place where there are no human rights, no respect of international treaties. Refugees are registered in a neighboring country and they are rounded up. It's contrary to the law of no refoulement. The people stay there and they are locked up in their thousands in French-speaking Cameroon. And we don't even have jail services like in a normal country where prisoners are fed, cared for, treated. They're just lumped up and families have to go hundreds of kilometers to try to smuggle food and medicine to them. Many are dying and people escape. Here we are, in front of you, begging you to send our refugees, please.
Well, you've seen the video for yourself. Ambazonians protesting in Cyprus. The president addressed the European loyalists that was part of this protest in Cyprus through a video conference appreciating their efforts. President Samuel Ikome Sako in his speech emphasized that Ambazonians are rich in every ramification but only lack freedom. The president also emphasized that Cameroon is to Ambazonia what Russia is to Ukraine. Well, there's a video of the president talking about this.
My dear people of Donga Manto, fellow Ambazonians, it is an honor to be with you today in this great historic Savannah County as we continue our patriotic task to free our homeland. Let us start by remembering those early patriots who lost their lives decades before this liberation struggle was reignited in 2016. I'm thinking of the patriotic civilians who were massacred in Do in 1992 on the orders of this same. Let me thank you, the Soviet Cameroon community of Europe, and especially our vibrant Cyprus community for hosting this year's European conference in this beautiful place. I'm flattered by the organization and your labor and sacrifice that have made this event an outstanding success. I want to thank the government and people of Cyprus for the support given to our people fleeing from a genocidal war. Thank you. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Our nation, the Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, is not a poor country. Our people are not fleeing from poverty. They are fleeing from a raging war. We are rich in everything except freedom. Like President Mandela said, we will forever remember our friends, such as the nation of Cyprus, who stood by us in the days of our distress. Our country has been under annexation by French Cameroon for 61 years. This war was declared on us when we rose to the annexation and reclaimed our right to self-determination. The annexationist is the French-backed 90-year-old dictator Paul Biya of Cameroon, who has been in power for 40 years. 40. He is the present-day Adolf Hitler in dark skin. Cameroon is to Ambazonia as Russia is to Ukraine. Little wonder that Cameroon now supports Russia in their war of annexation against Ukraine. We are not trying to secede or break away from the Republic of Cameroon as many have been told. Ambazonia is a country with internationally recognized boundaries demarcated since 1929 by the League of Nations. We were granted independence in 1961 by the United Nations and were required to choose to join either Nigeria or Cameroon to form a confederation of two states of equal status. We voted to join La République du Cameroun. Since then, contrary to the United Nations Charter, Cameroon refused to make the de facto a de jure union, so refused to sign a union treaty with us, with our leaders. They refused to jointly work with our leaders to write an acceptable union constitution. The de facto union also failed when Cameroon thought a peaceful cohabitation with southern Cameroon was not good enough and decided to annex us in 1961. They sent their gendarmes and army to invade our country, dethrone our prime minister, Augustin Gomjo, dissolved our government and parliament, and launched a process of assimilating us. Truth be told, Amazonia is smaller but richer than Cameroon. This senseless war against our people is for the control of our mineral and riches.
All right, of course, Amazonia is smaller but richer than Cameroon. Now, after the president addressed the protesters, a time for questions and answer was next. Now, the intelligent president, Samuel Sako, was able to answer all the questions asked, especially questions that had to do with finance. He emphasized that the monies donated belongs to smaller units, belongs to the local government areas, belongs to counties, and not getting to the government at the federal level. That is not getting to the government, the interim government. Now, let's see that part of the video.
Thank you for that question. It keeps coming up here and there. But let me say that the best way to ensure accountability is, first of all, not just to put institutions in place, but is to have people who man those institutions to do their job. The first step of ensuring that there is total accountability, 2019, was the devolution of power, that we created the local governments and the counties for greater participation in the process. I will encourage everyone that is giving that don't just give, be part of it, be part of the team, because when you just give your money, you will be hearing from social media. But when you give your money and you are part of its management, you will be informed of, you will know of everything, every progress that is being made by your contribution. Belong to your local government, because the money they donating, they are not coming. It's not coming to the central government. It's basically managed by the unit, the smaller unit, which if you belong, you have on the spot accountability on every expenditure that is authorized and how the money is used. The only thing is I cannot rule out the possibility of a human being becoming a good person, becoming a bad person tomorrow, and deciding, probably because you elected him or chose him by his previous record, to make him a treasurer, and he decided to run away with the money. I think that will happen until Christ comes. I'm saying that we have about 61 local governments. So those are about 61 different communities that are overseeing the use of their money. Well, when we go around, we are raising money for those communities, not for us. And there is no other group anywhere that raises money and says that the people who raise the money control it. That's what we do. And the other thing we want to also ensure is that the days of impunity are over. We have structured the system in such a way that our money is managed by legal organizations. And if you tamper with it, we have verifiable evidence that you did that, the law will take care of you anywhere you are, especially from the central government perspective, for every money that passes through our hand. In America, we have Section 501c3 organizations, which are like non-governmental organizations duly certified by the state, by the federal government. So if you tamper with our money and we have clear documentary evidence, you're going in for it. And I know there are even some cases in court now against some corporates, and you will hear for yourself what the court will do. This is not blah blah. This is the court and the law. So we make sure that although they say government money is for everybody, but it's not for thieves. Initially, when we started, we did not have the legal framework to hold responsible some people who committed such malpractices. So now we have created the legal framework. You can't do that, and we have clear documentary evidence, and you go free. No, the organization will go after you legally and seek redress. So that is what we're also encouraging the local government and the counties to do. Because when we have money, when we just operate as a loose community, not formally registered, it is difficult to come against individuals who are recalcitrant because you need a legal framework to do that. We have created that at the central government. We're encouraging the counties and local government to help do the same so that we are legally operating, though as a government, but as legal entities called counties and LGAs so that we can hold responsible illegally anybody that wants to do away with our money because they think we are at war. We can do nothing. One thing we have also put in place is transparency. Transparency is bringing more eyes into what is happening inside. We have our treasury is made up of our central treasury is made up of representatives of all the local government. I mean, all the counties, 13 counties.
All right, so there were several questions, but that particular question and answer got our attention because the truth of the matter is, for the fact that we are in the drafting season, so many persons are paying key attention to the money. Even those that are not even drafting are all interested in the money. Remember when we started the draft season newly, people were thinking that the monies were not real. I mean, we had such report here where people thought that the money wasn't real. Just to tell you that people are following up, people are wondering how this is even possible. So we had to emphasize on that particular question and answer section. People want to know where their monies are going to. People want to know what the monies will be used for. And in as much as President Samuel Ikomesako makes it clear every now and then that the money is for the fighters, people still ask. And it's a good thing that their questions are answered, right?
Very good, I must say. Indeed, it's very good. We still have Dr. Winnie Lobati with us here. And Dr. Winnie Lobati, you've heard from our last report how the people in Cyprus, Ambazonians in Cyprus, protested. I mean, them getting to make their voices heard to the international communities and other bodies that can help this Ambazonia struggle come to an end with us going to the Swiss negotiation table. I think it is a progress for me. I don't know, what do you think about it?
I think when we had COVID, it kind of dampened a lot of the um, protests that we Amazonians used to carry out all over the world, even though we had to get back inside, pull ourselves off the protesting grounds to strategize and not just keep protesting and let our people get slaughtered. Now that we have the structures in place, and I'm glad that the European, Southern Cameroon's European had their annual, I don't know, conference or convention in Cyprus, and they went to the United Nations office there and some other humanitarian communities or offices to state their case. It's a good and laudable thing, and it is encouraged. Um, eh, we also should be aware that we are also carrying silent diplomacy. And silent diplomacy may go a long way, as well as using every tool we have in our basket so that we can push the struggle forward until we get to the ultimate end. So I want to thank my comrades in Europe and in Cyprus in particular for doing this and carrying this on. I think the next door we probably should be knocking at or protesting should be the headquarters of the Red Cross in Switzerland. Why are they not really calling our what they may term an internal crisis? Why are they not labeling it for what it is to allow the help that our people need? um, to be accorded, given to them. The Red Cross is that organization that is internationally known that kind of classify and categorize conflicts and problematic issues and problems around the world to help the international community come and rally around and come to the aid of the people. We need that. And maybe they need a visit from us too, so that they will know that we are they cannot be silent. I know there's a Red Cross office in Yaoundé. Forget about that, because most of them are people employed by from amongst La République citizens, and so they behold to um, La République, and they may tell you that we are independent, we are that, knowing what happens in that country, how things can be twisted, people's hands twisted in the background, and people also fear for their lives, and so they just stay mute. They are muscle. They cannot speak and cannot give the accurate report for whatever reason. If you cannot do your job accurately and fairly with all the tools you're given to do the job, then there is some other external force, or you're corrupt from within your core. So let them get up, let them classify this thing, and say it for what it is, and not keep saying that only 1,500 people have died for over 5 years, and they're mass graves. And there's Ngabu, there is Kumba, there is Guzang and Batibo, and you hear about all this massacre all around the place, and how many of our boys that and children have been picked up and they are missing. They don't know where they are, and and you say it's only 1,500 people. No, something has to change, and if protesting will push the dial a little bit towards where we need to be going, I say kudos for that. Let's do more.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Lubati. All right, Dr. Lobati, thank you so much. I love the fact that you emphasize that before the COVID, I mean, this was going on protests, and we know what it can do. It will create international consciousness. Yes, and it makes the move very intentional. So, should we also say that our brothers in other countries can intentionally embark on such protests? I mean, yes, you just said it's laudable. I mean, you said it's a good one, it's a good move. Should it also be practiced in other countries? I mean, the international community needs to see us, and we must employ every tool that we have. So, are we calling out other persons in other countries to do the same thing?
Oh, yes, I think we should. But here, let me use I'm in the US, and there is something that probably would even go further. We can organize protests if we that's what how we want to go. But there is something. We have elected officials, senators, congressmen and women. Let's um let's ask and go to their offices and visit them and state our case. So even if we want to combine it with a protest, let's use all the tools within our toolbox to get this. Yes, that's why we had some serious resolutions that came out of Congress, and even some sanctions against La Republique. These are most of them did happen prior to COVID, and so we need to get back to that place where that awareness will be there. I love this. Ukraine had its problem. The international community rallied behind Ukraine. Amazonia has had this crisis going on, this going on for more than 5 years. Why are they quiet? We need to get them to prick their conscience. Don't let this continuous genocide go on because we are black skinned people. Don't do that. Don't let us pull and tell them, are more, is it because Ukraine is in Europe, or and then we are in Africa and we are doomed for this? No, let's be fair to all people. Let's be fair to all races. International community. It is wrong for Russia to invade Ukraine. Likewise, it is wrong for La République, pushed by France, to invade Amazonia. Let us, Southern Cameroons, let's judge rightly and judge with equity and not play favoritisms.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Lubati. We just beg that you sit back for just the last report this evening. All right. That's coming right after this break.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa. With untold stories, Africa's best.
All right, so let's look at the president's speech. Over the weekend, Dongan Mantoun County drafted with over 51,000 US dollars. Over, we say, because we are sure that the amount would have increased right about now. Now, let's look at the speech. The president, during the Dongan Mountain County draft, appreciated everyone continuously supporting and ensuring that the draft is successful. Now, he appreciated all the local government area chairmen and coordinators. He recognized the struggle of the innocent men and women massacred in this struggle. A moment of silence was held for them all. He emphasized that Dongan Mantoun has suffered leadership crisis like every other county. He used that opportunity to speak extensively on the qualities of a leader and the qualities of leadership. President Samuel Sako also spoke on those wanting to leave the struggle, judging his ability as a leader or judging him through the people who are around him. And he's saying that they may not be fair in their judgment and may be called quitters if they should finally quit. Now, let's hear these words from him.
My dear people of Donga Manto, fellow Ambazonians, it is an honor to be with you today in this great historic Savannah County as we continue our patriotic task to free our homeland. Let us start by remembering those early patriots who lost their lives decades before this liberation struggle was reignited in 2016. I'm thinking of the patriotic civilians who were massacred in Do in 1992 on the orders of this same genocidal colonial regime. I'm also thinking of the victims of the more recent Ngabu massacre, the innocent children, women, and men massacred in Ngabu in 2020, and the numerous civilians who have been summarily executed for just being Ambazonians. We honor your memory. Ambazonia will never forget your patriotic bravery in defending homeland. A moment of silence, please. May their souls rest in power till we cross the finish line. Donga Mantoun, like some other counties, has suffered leadership crisis from inception. There's no better driver in every movement than the leadership. A proactive, dedicated, and trustworthy leadership that does not play for the gallery. A sacrificial leadership that demonstrates a good sense of judgment on the side of truth and is ready to steer the collective aspirations above its private enterprise, and is ready to answer at the gate when the enemy knocks. And let me speak to those who left us and are now at the verge of abandoning the struggle, many of whom I hear still think we are good, but for certain issues they disagree with. Some say their problem is there are certain people around the president who are bad. Maybe that is correct. But can anyone show me a leader in the world, including the Pope, who does not have some so-called bad people around him? If what you are concerned about, if what frightens you around me is a phenomenon found everywhere, don't you think your judgment is flawed? Ask them if they are not experiencing it now as we speak. If you quit the struggle because of a common problem, what should we call you? They will call you a quitter. You will be numbered not amongst the heroes, but amongst the cowards of our time. Dongamanto County is a very strategic county in the northern part of our territory. Its importance as a border county with neighboring Nigeria, the Nigerian state of Taraba, cannot be overemphasized. It is a major gateway to the French Cameroon strategic region, serving as a conduit for economic and logistic interactions between our two neighbors.
You heard the President Samuel Ikome Sako emphasize that Donga Matung is a strategic county and a major gateway to La Republic du Cameroon's economic reserves. He also said that blacklegs like Ngala Gerald will face the full weight of justice. He emphasized that DMC draft is special because it's the only way to enable the ARFs to defend her people. He also emphasized that the DMC draft is a special one because of the connection of Nigeria and La Republic du Cameroon. All counties should support DMC in their week of draft. The president encouraged the ARFs and double up their efforts, emphasized that they are the lion of the jungle, appreciated their intelligent capacity so far, and also asked to find out how long it would take to find a spy around them. Well, let's hear the other part of the president's speech.
Genocide facilitators like Ngala Gerard, his co-conspirators resident in the United States and others, being used by the colonial regime in Yaoundé to massacre our people, will surely face the wrath of Amazonia and the full weight of justice when the time comes, and that is not far away. Therefore, today's draft is special because of the necessity to unclamp the stranglehold of the colonial regime and her military in the county of Dogamanto and take total control of important gateways to Amazonia on all sides. Today's draft is special because it is the only way we can enable our ARFs in Dongamanton County to protect the vulnerable people of this important county who have suffered enormously from the organized barbarism of Paul Biya's genocidal regime through numerous massacres and burning of villages and settlements. Today's draft is also special because we have to respond to the rising phenomenon of cross-border importation of mercenaries from neighboring Nigeria by desperados, desperate La République du Cameroon's gangster regime. These are coming in disguised as Fulani headsmen to massacre our innocent Amazonian citizens. So liberating Dogamanton is a must for strategic reasons, for the safety of our people and their property and cattle in that entire zone. Thank you, brave compatriots. I want to encourage you and all our ARFs not to be scared by enemy propaganda, using scare tactics to cow you to a corner. You are the lions of this jungle. All you need is vigilance and discipline. Your intelligence network is your first firewall. I think even though we have announced it, La République cannot find 1,000 foolish Amazonians today to recruit, train, and send into the heart of the battlefront to carry out their dirty work. If that's what they wanted to do, they would have recruited more from their failed DDR program. Whatever the case, how long do you think it will take for you to find a spy amongst you?
And that's the million question. All right, we still have Dr. Winnie Lubati here with us in the house. I'm sure that she would always say she's not as eloquent as President Samuel Ikomesako, but we know that she speaks even better. But then, Dr. Lubati, let's get to hear from you. We picked out and highlighted these strategic points from his speech today for particular reasons. Let's hear your thoughts, man.
You know, Dongamantum is, I think, the only county, if I am accurately correct, that has international boundaries with two nations, La Republic and Nigeria. So they are very strategic for us as a nation, and therefore really making sure that we have Ndonga Mantum really under our control, and also have them as have the restoration fighters there well equipped to be able to withstand any of the um, onslaught massacre that La Republic wants to throw at us, or whatever they want to throw, is very crucial. And as even economically, the people of Ndonga Mantum actually do trade with Nigeria. And being a border state, some of the indigenes have relatives that are of the same culture, just like you will have some South when you go down to Ekok. So they really are of the same, let's say, ethnic root, and they speak the same languages. So that's that cross border um, interaction, and they also have a border with La Republique. So they are vital and very important. Um, I love part of the speech of I think it was county chair of Ndonga Mantum, where he said we're one of the few people, then they were called division, Camber division, that stood and voted against us ever joining La Republique in the plan of 1961. And Mancon Bachamba, or Mancon, as an area within Bamenda, because there were also districts in Bamenda, they also voted against joining and made pocket areas there. But there's an observation that is going on, is that the elite, most of these places, even though it's across the board, elites across the board, who think they have their investments back in La Republique and they want their one Cameroon, and they about the rest of the other 8 million or 7 point something million or so, want to stay in La Republique or have a one Cameroon or some federated state. We already had federated state that never worked. It was it was quickly collapsed because of the natural resources of Amazonia that France could not get access to. So they wanted access, so they pretended and had a referendum that was supposed to say we, and yes, we want to unite. But there was never any treaty of unification. So putting that aside, Ndonga Mantum is very important, very critical. And we remember the massacre for us within just not a year back, the Ngabu. That is really, really something that's still fresh. So even for the sake of a village being wiped out, young people waking up, parents waking up, sending their kids to go fetch water to see that they were all gunned down and killed because they were just Amazonians, we need to support Donga Mantum. And if you were not in the draft and you thought you forgot, oh, you were at work, hey, it's not too late. The platforms are out there. Reach out and you can still go ahead and support